Now that you have a photo opened in Photoshop, let's take a look around at the interface and take a little tour. So at the top, we have our text menu, and there's obviously a lot here that you can do just through clicking on some of these text areas. Right beneath that, we have the options bar. This is for all the tools. So if I choose a different tool set, notice that the options change with that tool. And so some of these options for like a brush is that you can change the size or the edge hardness of the brush. You could choose different types of brushes. So these options are very powerful. You can even control the flow or the amount of paint that is dispensed here. On the left side, down the edge here, is our toolbox. And if there's a little triangle in the corner, if you click and hold, there's going to be several tools behind it. Almost every one of these has at least one tool that is behind it, which means there's multiple tools on that particular icon. All right, this is our pasteboard where the actual image shows up. And that's obviously right there. Over here, this is all what used to be called a palette system, but now I guess panels is the best way to think about it. There's a lot of panels here, and some of them you'll need and some of them you won't need. The Learn panel, obviously, this is where you can learn how to do various things, but we're going to go ahead and close that. So if we click on that little lined area, we can just close that group. Libraries, this is where if you use your Adobe library where you have a bunch of collected items that you can then pull from. And so I have a bunch of stuff here that I can use, including different color themes. But again, I'm going to close this because I don't use it very often. So close that. Up here we have color and swatches. Swatches is a bigger conversation, but color, you can choose a color picker right here, dialing in to a specific color that you want. Underneath there is the properties. Adjustments is a huge thing we'll use, so we're going to keep that up there. And then our most important palette is going to be layers, and this is where we build the different layers of our image. Channels and paths are a little more advanced, but they are certainly powerful. If you want to minimize, let's say we have a whole bunch of layers stacked, I can just double click on the ones above and that gives me a little option. Over here, this little one always stands alone for some reason, but it's our history. And so let's say we do some things to this. I will do a little bit of that and maybe a little bit of that, and what you can see is our history is built up, and then we can go back and forth from that history if we'd like. If you'd like all of these to be small, you can click this little tiny arrow and that gives you more space. We also have the ruler right here engaged. If you hit Command or Control R, that turns the ruler on and off. I find the ruler very important because when I'm lining things up, you can click and drag out these guidelines from the ruler, and that becomes really important, especially if you're working with architecture or you want to try and really line something up to the rule of thirds. All right, that's kind of the tour of our interface.